Afternoon. How are you all doing? My wife's just gone out and said, can I take a delivery? So if the doorbell rings, I'm going to have to go. Just to let you know. The opposite on me. She knows I go on every time, every day, 20 past 2. She goes, 2:15. I'll just pop into the post office. There's a delivery coming soon, just to let you know. And then she disappears. So if I have to run, you'll hear the dog alarm go off probably. That's why. Afternoon, Ian, Prince, Kennelly, Julio, JC, Virginia, Danny, Monkey, David, how are we doing? Martin, Oil, good afternoon. Oil, yes, oil. Afternoon, Gregors. Afternoon, it's time. How are we doing? So we've had some news this afternoon. The unemployment claims came out as a negative. Not much. It's 221 forecast. We got a 231, so it is higher than anticipated. Philly Fed manufacturing was down, which is good. But yeah, so another negative for the US dollar. US, obviously everything's rallied against the US, but if you look at the CPI drop, and then you look at the unemployment drop, just a drop in the ocean, really, isn't it? They haven't really moved much. It looks quite a big candle, but it's actually not even broken yesterday's high on the euro US dollar. So, and it's undoing pretty much all of it on most pairs. So, not really much of an impact on the on that news. US dollar CAD is actually rallying against, US dollars is running against the CAD, even though that has dropped. So that shows you what weakness that CAD move we've got at the moment is. Oil dropping through the floor at the moment, which obviously isn't helping the Canadian dollar. So oil, we are coming back down and retesting last week's low. So potential for a double bottom bounce down here. But something wrong with oil, isn't there? OPEC don't seem to be able to do anything about this, this movement in oil. So big drop again. Looking at just quickly scanning the news because I haven't actually scanned it this morning. Walmart earnings, US stock indices decline. Meh. So they've really declined that much. Alibaba shares slide 8%. Not a lot else this morning. It's quite a few stock earnings out today. Walmart's out as well. But other than that, not a lot else. So main news today so far is oil, and that's only just happened in the last hour. CAD yen 150 ADR. So it is. Canadian dollar getting absolutely murdered. So looks like we've got some yen strength coming through today. Whoever's short on the yen, you'll be very happy. So a little bit of yen strength. Yeah, US dollar yen's coming down pretty hard as well. Look, so that CAD yen's obviously extended way beyond normal levels due to the CAD weakening at the same time as the yen is moving. So, afternoon, Johnny. Careful what you say about the wife. She might be listening. No, she's on her way to the post office. Hope. Afternoon, Burke. Hamza. Oil working its way down to 70. Hope not. It's gone straight through 75. This is going to cost me. Oil is going to completely destroy my month. I am not trading oil anymore. I put that, I had these two positions on, which were 0.5s. So I put it back on again today when we started to rally up above the gap. I haven't put a stop loss on this. It's not actually an aggressive drawdown control position. It is just, well, it's quite aggressive. But I have to take that off. I'll give it ADR. If it just beyond ADR, otherwise I'm getting out. This is annoying. FX going really well this month. Oil, 10% loss. I am not trading oil anymore. It does not work. So I've done a video on YouTube about how to make yourself more profitable here. Increase your trading profits. Just remove your losses. Why I don't trade gold. Oil is basically going into the same pot as gold. It's a commodity. They do not work as position trading. They're too volatile. So I was doing all right at oil. I've had two really good runs on oil, and I've had 2 catastrophic losses, which have wiped out all profits plus some. And this is another month where that's happening. So this is my last month on oil. I'm done with oil. It's killing me. So there's no more news this afternoon. We've got retail for the pound tomorrow. I'm not here tomorrow afternoon, just to let you know. So watch out for retail tomorrow on the pound. We've got Lagarde speaking tomorrow morning as well. Not sure she's going to say anything, but might do. So you need to be aware of the euro move. But yeah, that's about it. So we'll see where we go. So there's quite a few ADRs. The RSIs, there's not a lot today. Most of the RSIs that we've had this week have all played out. So fair bit of profit banked off of the ADR reversals, RSI reversals this week. A few bits and pieces in profit to bank there. CAD Swiss as well, absolutely getting killed now on CAD Swiss. I've got an aggressive position that I attempted yesterday, which I got stopped out on. I put the aggressive back on today with buy stops, haven't triggered them, and it's collapsing. So we're coming down into the monthly lows on the CAD Swiss. This is getting close to me having to just do some drawdown control. If I hadn't got oil on, I'd be absolutely fine with that, but I have got oil on, and I can't not have oil on. So I've got to deal with it, unfortunately. But we're coming down to the monthly lows now, as you can see. So we've got a lovely double bottom monthly low coming up. So I will be taking an aggressive drawdown control position here, hoping that we get a nice bounce. I'm just going to move that down. So aggressive position going on. I'm going to take it when we break that hourly high, which will be a 15-minute reversal alert. Whoops, sorry there. Drawn properly, is it? So I'll be getting in when we take that reversal alert on M15. A little bit more. Oh, sorry, no, buy stop. Yeah, I'm going to wait until we take that reversal alert. Want that propulsion gap out the way, basically. So we're going to bounce, hopefully, off of there. In fact, what I might do, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put 2 aggressive positions on, one on the reversal alert and one on a break of that high. And I'm going to make sure that that is a very tight stop. So this is going to be quite tight, very high risk, because obviously it's using a tight stop loss, but it's low risk as in percentage wise. So I'm going to put 0.75% on that. So that entry there, 0.75%. And then I'll add, which is obviously assuming that the reversal works off of the lows. Market's about to open. So we'll have a look at the ADRs and everything in a minute. So DAX this morning, beautiful clean break. Market's just opened. So we had a lovely clean break today on the DAX. That was the 15-minute pre-market, and it literally just screamed away straight up to 2R. Thank you very much. Done, literally within the first initial cash balance. We then just sat there literally all morning until that little spike. So that's it. So if you didn't catch that pre-market today, you didn't do anything. Basically, you got in and you sat there. You probably would have been out on a break even. That's about all you've got. So the pre-market today was the only trade you could have got on the DAX. NASDAQ, I'm short. No trade yet on the S&P and long on the Dow. Excuse me. Afternoon, Edward. Outro. Brian, how are we doing? Is there a way to see whether pending positions were cancelled or not? like within your history. Yeah. So if you go into your history, all your pending orders, cancelled orders will be in the history as well. Look in your account history, they'll all be in there. So Dow long, NASDAQ short. So far, S&P not gone anywhere on the pre-market range. Quite a volatile open today. Lot of movement. Let's just stick tick strike on so we can hear what's going on. Oh, something in my eye now. Before you say an eyeball, yes, I know I've got an eyeball. It's my mum's favourite joke. Whenever you say you've got something in my eye, she says, eyeball? Not sure tick strike's working. Let me just refresh that. Seems very quiet for that amount of volatility. I would imagine there'd be some movement going on, but maybe not. Very quiet, isn't it? Volume's definitely working. ADR on oil. It's going to stop out on oil. It's a good job I've had a good month on the scalping, isn't it? Because my position trading month is absolutely wiped out by oil. Very annoying. NASDAQ short break is on. So looking at where we're going today, obviously we looked at this morning with all of the indices. So all of the indices, we've had big rallies. So we didn't really get a profit take on that initial move. We got a little bit of a flag, another flag. Yeah. So we are really, really flying on the DAX. The Dow, S&P, etc. Have had a big rally sideways for a week and a bit, and then that obviously CPI figure and sideways. So all the indices at the moment are kind of due a bit of a profit take, bit of a pullback before we start new legs up if we're going to continue to do new leg up. No need to lash out. That's a good one, Howard. Afternoon, Crop. So yeah, so here comes some orders at last. Okay, long S&P as well. So yeah, so we are due a pullback. Obviously, the US dollar weakness is going to mean that the stock indexes are going to get more strength. So I'm still not convinced this weakness in the US dollar is legit. I think they're going to undo this move. So today, obviously, where we are at the moment, we haven't gone anywhere. I don't know what that post on Financial Juice was talking about with stock indexes dropping dramatically. It's not gone anywhere, is it? So upside is ADR today, which is yesterday's high. Downside, we are sitting on yesterday's low at the moment. Okay, so we broke down. We've closed pretty much on the lows. We haven't been able to break it all day. They've tried to rally, failed. So if we do break yesterday's low, that propulsion gap basically is free fall. So there's nothing to stop us. The entire CPI move basically to the downside, all the way down to ADR today. So we'll see if we can get a break to the downside. If it does break down, there's a big drop available on the NASDAQ there. S&P, pretty much the same thing. So we closed pretty much at the lows. We've kind of hovered around there all day. So again, all the way down to the propulsion gap fill there. The DAX obviously is a slightly different situation, but the Dow, same thing as well. So that's yesterday's, yesterday's low is actually the open of yesterday. But this whole area here is holding up. So at the minute, the buyers are buying yesterday's low, and the sellers have not managed to make any progress. So again, same thing. Yesterday's high is going to be your max. This is a big round number here on the Dow that we're trying to get through, 35,000. So big round numbers are a big psychological level. Okay. Sellers coming in. So that's 35,000. That's your psychological level, which they seem to have stalled out at on the Dow. So it does look like it should be more bearish today. We are due a pullback on the big move over the last sort of few weeks, month. We've got that CPI figure where the US dollar hasn't really dropped dramatically more. So there's a good chance that will get undone, which will be negative indexes. And obviously we are trying and bouncing off the lows constantly all day today. So it does look like there's a lot of selling pressure available. But market's not really managed to do anything today. So downside would be lovely, because downside would be a big, probably quite a fast drop today. So unfortunately for me, though, that means 2 hedges and 1 clean break, which isn't going to be particularly profitable. But we'll see where we go. Hasn't gone anywhere yet, has it? So we're 5-minute opening range is in there. We're kind of inside bar on the Dow. There's your 5-minute ORB as well on the NASDAQ. So we're inside bars at the moment. No progress in either direction. Kind of like it to break up from a personal perspective today, because I've got 2 longs on and 1 hedge. So that would be better for me. Yesterday's high as a target, which is S&P. Yesterday's high is about 3.5R. 3R on the S&P. So sorry, the Dow is 3R. S&P is 3.5R. Yesterday's high is up at ADR on the NASDAQ. So see where we go. At the moment, we're not going anywhere. So yeah, nice breaks on the DAX this morning. So I banked on the DAX on the other account, but I didn't trade it on here today because I was transferring money. I didn't get a chance to when I got back from the gym this morning. Wouldn't mind the NAS to drop until US 30 and the 500 to rally. Everybody's going to be in a different position. Personally, I want them all to go long. In fact, what I'd like to happen is these two to rally, 2R, while this just stays on an inside range, and then for them all to collapse over here, and then that to break short. But that's not going to happen, is it? Because if that goes up, that's going up. So it's a very mixed bag. It's very, very quiet. You can hear tick strike. It's very, very quiet today. Not a lot of volume. There's a lot of movement, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of volume coming in at the moment. No big orders at present, but quiet open. There we go. So there's your 5-minute candle after the initial opening range. So we are pretty much inside bar on all 3. So no directional bias after the initial orders have gone in. So we'll see where they go from here. But at the moment, not really going anywhere. Feels like it wants to go short, but we'll see. Right, let's have a look at the FX market while we're waiting for that to move. So I'll start off with RSIs because there aren't many today. We looked at these again this morning. So Swiss yen is extended still on the 4-hour, though that's coming out of extension now because obviously it's pulling back. So we've got a little bit of yen strength starting to show its face today. it's obviously long overdue, some yen strength. And as the US dollar hasn't managed to get any further today, there's no reason for any intervention or any big moves to be started by the Japanese. So Swiss yen extended on the 4 hour. That's been extended a couple of times. So we've had an extension there, an extension there. So that was a tiny little flag. That one we got a nice pullback on. So that would have been initial entry there, scale in and out. That one, if you took it, you'd be on your second with an average there. So as long as we come back and retest this high, that should be fine on the Swiss yen. Euro CAD is extended on the hourly, 4 hourly. I've got 2 shorts on this one at the moment of the H1 RSI extension. So again, the H4 got extended. Really trending away nicely. This Canadian dollar obviously is going to drop all the time. Oil is dropping, and oil is dropping again. So this is going to continue to do this until we get some stability in the oil market, which OPEC are trying very hard to do, but not really succeeding at the moment. So we'll see what happens. But at the minute, Canadian dollar should remain weak. If the US dollar weakens, the Canadian dollar will weaken. If oil weakens, the Canadian dollar will weaken. At the moment, oil and the US dollar are both weakening. So Canadian dollar hasn't really got a lot of hope. So that one will probably continue to push. But you had your 4 hour RSI extension there and pullback. But not obviously today, it's rallied out the highs. So it's extended again. Euro yen extended. Really good, strong 2-week move on this. Solid straight up against the yen. Yen massively weak. Nice extension. But as I say, I would be shorting everything yen based on the fact the intervention was coming. But the intervention is not on the cards at the moment if that US dollar is going to weaken. So we'll have to wait and see if we get any movement on there. But that's extended on the 4 hour. So again, targets on this, you'd be looking at that monthly high in accumulation. Got a little bit of an accumulation down there as well, potentially for a pullback. Looking for a push back into the 24.72 moving averages on the 4 hour, on the daily. Euro US dollar extended on the 4 hour as well. Got 2 on that. Obviously, this is a CPI move. So as I've been saying, this is either a fundamental move or it's not. We don't know. We've got no confirmation yet. So we are tapping back up into the highs on the euro US dollar. So potentially this is looking like an M pattern reversal. That's where my target is because I'm not going to get greedy. If we are going to pull back, I'll probably be looking for a pullback to support and then maybe a continuation bounce. But we'll have to wait and see what happens to that. But that was nicely extended on the 4 hour. It's just coming out of extension now. In fact, it's just gone back into extension from 70. So it's kind of flip-flopping around at the moment. And US dollar Swiss, that's also extended on the 4 hour to the downside. Obviously, US dollar weak. And again, waiting to see if this is going to hold or if we're just going to push back in. We've broken long on the Dow. Lows have been rejected on the NASDAQ again. S&P's not actually managed to get anywhere. This market's not got any legs today. So just wicks at the moment. Nothing but wicks. But bullish at the moment. So there's your RSIs. There's no hourlies to look at. All 4 hours basically at the moment, and none of them are really massively extended. They are coming out of extension from a big extension. So hopefully they will all start to pull back up again. Okay. You can hear the buyers coming in. We are making progress now to the upside. So Dow on its way to the highs. Zoom out so we can see the pre-market levels. So pre-market high basically is that on the S&P. Dow is there. So we're just approaching pre-market highs. So we'll find some resistance at those levels. Hedged now on the NASDAQ. Nothing but buyers coming in again today. Very bullish at the moment. Dow's out of the highs. No, it's not. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong chart. It's not quite. You can see it on the screen. I'm looking at a different chart over there, and I can only see that much of it because I've got 3 charts across instead of 2. So I can't actually see. What I was looking at was making new highs there, which is not obviously new highs. That's new highs. So we probably find we run into a little bit of resistance up here. Wouldn't mind the NAS drop. Oh, I've already covered that one, haven't I? Very slow open yet. Got mega slipped on the NAS. I got a tiny slippage on the NAS, not a lot today. Okay, so Dow testing pre-market highs. We're out the highs. Frozen. Right, okay. So I've switched over to a Prime account because I was convinced that the ECN was the problem. And I've got frozen account again. This is not frozen over here. So I can only come to the conclusion that this MT4 is knackered. Because that terminal just froze up. This terminal didn't. It's on the same server. So it's this terminal for some reason. This MT4. It wasn't the ECN account. Interesting. So why is this MT4 frozen? I'm going to do a fresh install, I think. Okay, we're hitting an iceberg order at the moment. You can hear this. They're buying like crazy. We're not making any progress. So they're selling into this move at the moment. This is the S&P we're listening to. The other markets are getting, all the buyers are getting absorbed on the other markets at the moment. This is the resistance I was talking about. Yeah, they sold off the pre-market high there. So they're selling it off again. Just want to see what happens when the S&P gets to this high. Hoping they'll rally through and pop that level, which will give these two a bit more of a kick. Have you analyzed to see if any of the indices have more clean breaks than others? No. You can do that. I mean, the only way you can do that really is to eyeball it, visually look at it. I could build something to extract that data. It's the thing. The thing is, the statistics I did on the DAX gave about a 35% clean break. I tested different pre-market ranges, and I tested the initial cash balance range as well, the 5-minute opening range. The statistics were virtually identical across all of the tests that I did, which tells me that, which is what I thought, which is what the edge of the strategy is with the opening range breakout, is it either goes or it doesn't. Whether you use that range, that range, that range, or you wait for that range, it either goes or it doesn't. So the clean break is either going or it's not. Yeah. So you haven't got a clean break there. You have there and you have there. Yeah. So, and we got one on the DAX this morning. So you could analyze all 4 indices and use different ranges and the initial cash balance, the opening 5-minute candle. But I think what you will find is you'll get a variance of maybe 3 or 4%. So if that clean breaks by 40%, that clean breaks by 35%, that clean breaks by 32%, that clean breaks by 36%, you would go, oh, the NASDAQ's the best one. but that was the best one over that period of data that you tested. Yeah. So go and test the same thing over the previous year and the year before. You'll probably find you'll get 1 year 40, 1 year 33, 1 year 37. On average, it'll be about 35. And I think you'll find it'll be the same for every index. It either goes or it doesn't. It's binary. You either get hedged or you don't get hedged. And that is down to whether or not we get a fast opening move and continuation trend. If you get a fast opening move and reversal, it's a hedge. If you get a slow, weak open, it's a hedge. If you get a fast open and a trend, it's a clean break. There's 3 things it can do. That's why the odds are around about 35%. Whether it's 35 or 40, in the grand scheme of things, it's not going to give you much difference in your profitability, and you're only going to get information on what's happened in the past. What's the odds? What's the percentage break going to be this year? Find out this year, won't you? But I can guarantee it'll be somewhere in between that and there. There's not one that goes more than that one. This one moves faster, but by definition of moving faster, it can move faster up and down. It can be more whippy. But when it clean breaks faster. But then look at the Dow yesterday. The Dow yesterday just went whoop straight up to 2R. The DAX today went straight up to 2R. The NASDAQ some days has gone straight up to 2R. It's totally random. It depends on the balance of buy and sell orders at the bell. And that balance of buy and sell orders at the bell is different every day. There's no statistic that's going to help you with that. The money is made on the ability for the market to rally cleanly more often than not, and your ability to exit these hedges by identifying support and resistance. That's where you're going to make the money. Afternoon, Potgator. Do you think it could be meta quotes making it bad on purpose so people buy MT5? No. Nothing to do with the meta quotes. I'm not connected to meta quotes. I'm connected to my broker's server. NASDAQ's trying to get out those highs. You see, it's gone really, really quiet. I've got a feeling we're going to get a hell of a load of sell orders coming in a minute. Whipping Post, read an article on some MT4 copier software sites saying it's optimal to have multiple MT4s running on a single core. You don't have a choice. Oh, hang on. If they're freezing. Optimal to have multiple MT4s running on a single core. How would you do that? Afternoon, Steve. Mark? Yeah, find the link, send me the link. I'll have a look. The thing is, I've got 3 MT4s running. That doesn't have a problem, that terminal. My FX terminal very rarely disconnects. This one does. Raw price action. Can you recommend an ECN Forex broker, not a CFD broker? There's no such thing. ECN is a connection type. Contract for difference is a contract type. They're totally different things. ECN is a connection type. If you mean, is there a broker that connects directly to the market you can trade with? No, there isn't. S&P's out the highs, NASDAQ's out the highs, Dow is about to hit target. I'm not going to give it the benefit of the doubt. I do. Look at it. Look at it pretending it's going to give me my TP. Look. Pretending. Go on, when you're ready. TP hit. See, look, TP hit on this terminal, right? I'm closing that. Oh my God, it's a new account. I forgot. Yeah, that one hit TP. Look, that hit target. Same broker, same account type, same EA, same settings. One hit target, one missed target. You'll never trust a back test again. That's the real world. Okay, we're off and running. I'm just toying. I'm just thinking. Sorry. See, this terminal's frozen again. Look. Send me that article. Whipping post. I will have to have a look at that. See if you can when you do a Control-Alt-Delete and you go into Program Manager, you can tell it what cores to use on your CPU, can't you? I think with each program that you run. I have to have a look at that. What broker should US traders use? I don't know. Up to you. Whichever you want. I'm not in the US, so I can't really advise on US brokers. There's loads of ADRs going off. This Canadian dollar is getting slammed at the moment. Canadian dollar getting killed. That oil trade. Oil prices about to stop out on oil. Had getting murdered. God, this account's even worse than the other one. I don't know if it is actually. It's a terminal, isn't it? Wow, load of ADRs going off. CAD Swiss, weekly range just hit on the CAD Swiss. It's going down hard, isn't it? Seeing if there's any news on the Canadian dollar. I'm just moving my aggressive position down. CAD Yen 175 ADR on the CAD Yen. Canadian dollar getting absolutely slaughtered today. Euro CAD RSI extension. So there's your hourly candles in. I'm just getting ready to call this. Sorry, I'm just being quiet because I'm just thinking. I'm just watching the profit basically because I've got $600 there, $400 there. So I've got $1,000 in profit and I've got 425 hedge, which gives me clear $600 today. So All the time this is still rallying, though, I'm obviously not necessarily going to get out. But the thing that's concerning me is the Dow is stalling a little. And I don't want to lose the opportunity to exit. Oh, there it goes. I'm calling it. Okay, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 850 banked, 425 hedged. So it's 400 odd clear. So that's 1.2. Sellers are starting to come in. Says as he doesn't do it over here. Right, so sorry, NASDAQ. So plan on the NASDAQ. So the downside on this obviously is today very big. So that's ADR. So we've got round about 125 ADR back down into support down here. So this is the propulsion gap from CPI. So if this is failing to make a new high today, and we are starting to look like we're going to roll over, this has got a big flush. So I would be cautious about taking a 5R on it today, just because there's absolutely no reason for it to stop there at all. So this is an old monthly level from 2 months ago. So it's an old 2-month high, which is invalid pretty much. So the downside, ideally, that is what you want to hold on for, really. Because if we can sell off down to there, and it's going to have to be a big sell-off, it's highly likely we're going to find buyers at the CPI level, because that's where they started to move on the news. That was also the previous day's high and the high from the day before as well. So we know that this was an area of previous resistance. You can't see, can you? Previous resistance there. So that we would expect to turn into support, at least for a bounce, if not for a rally. Yeah, so that is the ideal spot for the downside. Upside, we'd be looking at yesterday's high. So that is within ADR to the upside. So I would put my TPs up there, not necessarily bang on it. You know, we're looking for a reaction at the highs. So getting out somewhere up at the high there, that is ADR today. But there's no pressure to get out of this hedge, because I'm in profit for the day. So I can let this run and just let the market play out today, see where it goes, see if there's anything exciting in there. Send article to your support email. All right, thanks for that whipping post. I'll have a look at that. So yeah, that's the plan. I'll be looking for yesterday's high, which is beyond 5R, and I'd be looking for a big sell-off, just because there's nowhere else for this to go. Yeah, like I said earlier, if it breaks those lows today, it's literally look out below. There's nothing. There's nothing there. So you will just get free fall, because there's no buyers waiting at any level here. So as long as there's sellers in the market, there's no one going to stop this, unless there's an iceberg sitting in there somewhere. But you won't know that until you get to it. So yeah, that's the plan today for the NAS. You've also got this little high here as well from yesterday, which is around about the 2R level. But you know, if it does break up today, that propulsion gap and those highs might act as a point where you'll get a pullback. So you could look at taking off there when you get some bearish price action, and they'll probably pull back before making a new leg up. So you've got that option as an exit as well. At the moment, it still seems like it wants to rally, doesn't it? But Just kind of want to bank the money today. New to Forex, but have been trading CFD on Capital. CFDs are so CFD. If you're new to Forex, CFD stands for Contract for Difference. That is the instrument, the vehicle your broker supplies to you to trade. You do not trade direct with the market. You do not trade direct with futures. You do not trade on the cash accounts. You trade contracts for difference with your broker. Yeah, these are all CFDs. I am trading the US 500 cash CFD. This is a contract for difference. They are giving me a contract for the difference in price between the market price and the price they're quoting me. It's a vehicle. You have to trade CFDs. You don't have a choice. Hamza, the trick is to install your MT4, MT5 terminal outside program files. I do that already. Then you can use affinity settings to switch which code it works on. I need to do some reading. All my terminals run in what's called portable mode. So I run everything in portable with /portable on the end, which means that it doesn't run and store all the data in the user folder in Windows. So all data is stored in the actual folder that the installation is done in. A lot of alerts going off. Hang on. CAD. Bloody hell, look at this CAD. 200% ADR on the CAD. Sellers are starting to come in on the indices as well, you can hear. Good rejection to the upside on the indexes, look. So that was the right call to get out there. So you've got the option as well on this. If you are hedged, you can get out of these, sorry, not get out of those sells, get out of these buys now and assume that we are going to flush today, in which case then get out the buys there with a tiny little profit. Any kind of movement into this area, and you're going to close it out with no loss, but might still go long. Yeah, this Canadian dollar, I'm not quite sure what's happened to this Canadian dollar. There's no news. We had the housing starts today. That's literally all we've had from the CAD today, which is better than expected. So it's not news related. I don't know what this sell-off is on the CAD, but something has upset it. It's difficult to tell whether it's oil price that's upset the CAD or CAD's upset oil price. But I would say it's probably just related to this oil sell-off. I don't know where this oil sell-off is coming from. Even OPEC have turned around in the last week and said, what are you lot doing? Why are you selling oil? Yeah, it's not logical. Yeah, we've got higher demand, restricted supply, and a war kicking off. Every single one of those is a positive. Yet the market, for some reason, is just dumping oil. Weird. So we're just pulling back down into that previous support resistance area. There, multiple support resistance. So we're bang on that. So this, where I've just got out of that position, is exactly where it will bounce from because I've exited and taken a loss of 2.5%. So you can be almost guaranteed this thing's going to rally from here. So I'm just moving my stop down. In fact, I'm just going to switch over to the hourly to do this. So next hourly reversal alert, I will enter again. Same risk. And see where we go from there. But yeah, that's collapsing at a rate of knots. That is oil. Oil goes to new highs. Yeah, it will do because I've just got out. Aussie dollar yen. So yen, massive moves on the yen as well. Look, yen powering up dramatically. It's all moved today, isn't it? Look at it. Obviously, CAD yen. Swiss yen pushing nicely. Euro yen just had a reverse alert on the euro yen. There's your M pattern. Pound yen. New Zealand yen. A nice retest on that. So new market structure on that. US dollar yen. So propulsion gap filled to the downside on the US dollar yen. So again, this is still not really giving us any indication as to whether we are starting new market structure or this is the start of a reversal back up to retest that 152. Find out, won't we? Outro, got out of your longs on the NAS, just in short now. Yeah, it's not a bad idea, I don't think, but obviously the market structure at the moment on these is long. Yeah, so you're looking for a pullback long at the minute. So if you're out of your longs, I would, try and get out somewhere down there. Assuming you've taken all the profit, obviously. If you're only in this, then it's a different situation. Yeah. But if you've banked, obviously, you just want to minimize this loss, really. But it could well buy out of this level, look. In which case, you might want to get ready to re-hedge it. Depending where you got out, obviously, re-hedging above those highs. Some buyers coming back in now. So that's an indecision candle, obviously, on the NASDAQ. We've had 2 in a row. So this is an expanding market, basically. Very difficult to trade these patterns. So when you get an outside bar followed by an outside bar, it means the market is trying to find direction, but can't. So every time it rallies long, the sellers beat them back. Every time the sellers rally short, the buyers beat them back. So we're trying. We've got expanding volatility, no direction. Means that nobody's in control at the moment, which is exactly the same as an inside bar. Inside bar is basically nobody in control. So we put in a high, put in a low, we put in a lower high and a higher low, meaning that no one's in control. Exactly the same as an outside bar, an inside bar. They're just basically indecision. But you got lower highs and lower lows going in on the Dow and the S&P. So that's bearish, that hasn't got a clue. Very difficult at the moment, isn't it? These markets are very volatile, but no real clues as to price. Dow's breaking down now, look. If we hear some sellers coming through on the S&P, that NASDAQ will probably drop. There we go. Hamza, Tuhami is close. You can set which core they run on in affinity settings in Task Manager. I'll have a look at that article, yeah. Come the sellers. Still buying it up though, look. So we're in the propulsion gap, which started that rally out of the initial opening range. So reading price action today on the S&P, there's your initial open. Sellers couldn't make any progress. Sellers couldn't make any progress. Buyers made their move, managed to push up, make new highs. So market structure shifted long. Buyers in control. Sellers are trying to push back. This is where the buyers started that rally that made the new high. So if the buyers are still in control of the market, this propulsion gap is where they will add to their positions to make a new high. That's where you'll get your new market structure forming from. So we want to watch this level. This level holds. We're likely to put a new leg in higher. If they break that, everybody that's long will flip and reverse. We'll start a new leg down to retest those lows and see if we can get some downward momentum, which obviously is what we're seeing on the Dow. And that's the level on the Dow where they started the move. Sellers are through. We'll test that level next. Does seem to be a lot of resistance to going short though. Starting to get a bit of traction now. Look, see if we can break that low. So you want to watch this level on the NASDAQ as well. Probably find we get some upticks come in there. Okay. Nice. There you go, outro. Your wish is complete. So up to you now. If you're out of those longs and you're short only, depending on whether you've got additional aggressive entries on here, you're probably sitting around about break even on the position at 0 now if you took aggressives. So the decision is, are you going to go for that? Because the reward to the downside today is astronomical. Yeah, if we break that low today, there's a potential massive flush. So if you are, whether or not you can hold that and test it. Big gamble, but big payoff if that actually breaks today. I'm just going to watch today because I've already banked, so I'm not going to jeopardize it. Right. So pound odd extended beyond ADR as well. There's ADRs going off all over the place today. This market today is moving. I'm not sure what is actually moving this today. We've got loads of yen movement. It's movement across the board, basically. Everything is moving fast. CAD Swiss, I'm just pulling down above that hourly candle. So we've got a new propulsion gap forming on the CAD Swiss. So we formed a propulsion gap breaking the lows. We are forming a new propulsion gap there as well. So that whole move from there down to there is one massive propulsion gap now. So I'm going to try an aggressive entry when we break that level. My average, look at my average. Pretty much 300 ADR away. Good. CAD Yen approaching 225 ADR. Big move on Euro odd. Glad I got out of that one yesterday. Euro CAD extended to the upside. So Euro CAD's broken out of resistance. So next stop on Euro CAD is obviously the double top, which is basically the yearly high. That's plenty of distance there, though. You're looking at somewhere in the region of 1.5 ADR upside left on that. Rejection on Euro Pound at the highs again, so that's a triple top. Like a good short. And that didn't get extended. Quite getting that. Euro Yen, not really gone anywhere so far. Euro New Zealand, not really much movement there. So Euro US pushing up again. We're in the highs. So again, potential area that we may reject. Pound CAD coming up for a double top at 150 ADR. So that's previous day's high, yesterday's high. So we pulled all the way down into support. Got the bounce at support. We've pushed all the way back up into that previous high. Huge moves. Absolutely huge moves on this Canadian dollar. Getting absolutely killed for some reason. Well, it's obviously oil. It's got to be oil. Pound New Zealand's on its way to TP. Wow, look at that. Fear and greed index. We were in fear 2 days ago. What a shift. That US dollar CPI, yeah, market's now like, yeah, let's buy stocks. Don't want anything to do with the US dollar anymore. Let's get our money in the stock market. Greed on, more volatility coming. Doesn't look good for the US dollar, I have to say, but which means indices long, which I was just going to say, outro, you might want to get out of your shorts. Because we are still bullish structure at the moment, obviously. So, see, but so yeah, pound rallying again against the US dollar. Euro US dollar rallying, so definitely weakness coming through in the US. That's not going to help the Canadian dollar. This is why the Canadian dollar is dropping so much. The US dollar is dropping, which obviously gives the Canadian dollar weakness. Oil is dropping at the same time, which exponentially moves the US dollar drop, because the US dollar will move on oil because it's a big oil exporter as well, which again exponentially moves the Canadian dollar. So when oil drops at the rate it's dropping, it weakens the US, and that double weakens the Canadian dollar. This is why this CAD's having such a bad day today. Still, I'm baffled as to why this oil price is dropping so hard. Even after OPEC came out this week, you know, this is the thing. OPEC are like looking at this going, what? Doesn't make sense. Again, it's the markets. Nothing makes sense, does it? If it made sense, we'd be able to press the button in the right direction every time, wouldn't we? New Zealand dollar Swiss coming out of the propulsion gap. Not a lot of movement on that today. New Zealand yen sideways as well. New Zealand US rallying again, so more weakness in the US. So this US dollar is really weak at the moment, and it's managing to beat the Canadian. So that shows you how weak that Canadian dollar is. Absolutely dying. US dollar Swiss coming down further as well. And US dollar yen collapsing. So big moves. Oil, gold you want to be buying at the minute. Yeah, nicely. Okay. So question is, do I want to have another crack at oil from down here? We are coming off the month, off that low. So this is the previous support resistance area that I identified. Bouncing perfectly. So we're forming a big propulsion gap on oil here. The reason I'm interested in this level is obviously because it's a good support resistance. Also, trends end with a flush. So when you get a trend coming to an end, you'll often find a spike on the end of it. Because it's basically the orders trying to find market orders, and there aren't any. So no one else is willing down here to take the other side of the order. So they reach further to fill the orders, and then eventually they just run out. That's why you tend to get spikes. This is why you find shooting stars and hammers forming in the market. Basically, we haven't got any more orders. Okay, back the other way then. So I'm just watching this, looking at it, thinking, is this weakness in oil, or is this the market reaching for the bottom? And we are finding limit orders triggering at that particular level, which we've identified as a good support resistance. So we're miles away from obviously anywhere at the moment. So what I'm going to try is one more order with 1% down there. If I can get some traction on it, I will add and try and scale into a position and see if this is the bottom. If it is the bottom, it's going to pay off. If it's not the bottom, it's going to cost. My month is very poor at the moment anyway, so because of oil. So I'm just trying to find an exit on this thing. And when you look at it from a support resistance perspective, 68 basically was the low we found this year. After that initial drop. See, this is what I mean by we finish on a flush, basically. So you finish on a big, strong move down, and then it pops. Big, strong move up, and then it pops. Yeah, big, strong move. Yeah, we finish on a ADR, basically. We finish on an over ADR. Fundamentally, it shouldn't be doing this, but we'll see. I'm willing to give it one more go, and then I'll call it, I think, on oil. We will see. Brian, 610 banked on the NASDAQ. Good job. Short fingers not working. What? Good day. Trade manager dashboard would be good if standing if it wasn't for that oil. Yeah. This isn't the first time this has happened to me on commodities, which is why, as I said earlier, I don't trade oil. I don't trade gold, because gold does this. Oil has done this to me before. I took a 9% loss on oil last year, and then I said no more oil. And then I went, oh, there's a war starting. I'll get into oil. This is it. I'm not doing it again. It's too expensive. FX works. I'm good at it. I'm not good at commodities. This is just basically the nail in the coffin, which is unfortunate because I had a really good month last month, and this is killing it, basically. So I've got a lot of work to do. We're on the 15th of the month, and I've only got 4% banked, which isn't enough. So I'm going to take a 7% loss, which is going to put me into negative. So I'll be lucky to get a 5% month out this month, which is, not the end of the world. But if I wasn't scalping, it would be a problem. So we're holding up again now on the NASDAQ. So this basically decision is that a new leg up, which it looks to me like it might well be. So if we're going to get a new leg up, we're going to need the US dollar to weaken. So if you want to get confirmation, if you watch the US dollar pairs, things like the US dollar Swiss, if they continue to drop, you'll probably find the indices will continue to rally. Canadian dollar starting to recover slightly as well. Right. ADRs all over the place, so there's lots of opportunities for mean reversions today. But obviously, this market, something's a little out of whack, isn't it, since those CPI figures? So we were looking for confirmation of the US dollar continuing to be weak. I would say that probably is it. So we looked at this morning, and I said, if they're going to buy this up, they're going to buy that propulsion gap. Seems to be happening, doesn't it? So this could be the start of the rollover in the US dollar. And if so, we will find that everything will start to roll over with it. The pound will start, the euro will start. It'll all start to tumble, and then the interest rates will all start to come down, etc., etc. So we'll see. We need to give it a little bit more time to confirm it. But euro US dollars new high of the day, hasn't even touched the propulsion moves yet. So they're not hanging around to buy this, are they? Weakness in the US, strength in the indices. So for those people that want to use opening range breakout strategy with a directional bias, it's long. However, I would say when it breaks short and gives us 2 Rs, don't come complaining to me. You can go both ways, can't it? No to getting into oil, that is. There's a 50-50 shot, Hamza. Everything's got to stop coming down at some point. Support and resistance is usually where it tends to do it. How did you do on the SIH yesterday? 2.5% loss yesterday. Yeah, so lost yesterday. But I missed. If you yesterday, if you traded it yesterday, blimey. So the Dow yesterday at the open absolutely screamed. So if you got into the Dow yesterday at the open, you were laughing. Yeah, because the Dow, basically the pre-market 15 on the Dow went straight to 2R. Literally, that was it. You were done. The NASDAQ was the only thing I took yesterday, and that turned into a hedge, which turned into a loss. So if I'd have managed to get onto the Dow yesterday, the Dow would have paid for the hedge and some. It would have been a 1R win. But the EA didn't get the Dow on, did it, yesterday? So it turned into a loss day. To be fair, if you were manually trading that, you wouldn't have got into that manually either. It moves so fast. You would have struggled to get into that manually. And if you had hit the button fast enough, you wouldn't have got a decent entry to get a 2R reward out of it anyway. So it was too difficult to make money yesterday. There were exits on the NASDAQ yesterday, but not easy at all to trade yesterday. So if you look at the Hedge yesterday, which was there, it actually only moved 2.5R. That's all it gave yesterday. 2.5R down. Pretty much. So just wasn't. That was the support bounce. I didn't take it. I wasn't there. I was out. So I didn't see it. But that's where you needed to get out yesterday. Easy in hindsight, isn't it? It's really easy trade that was yesterday. Look. But it doesn't work like that on the hard right edge, does it? Selling off hard. Again. So this is a structure shift, potentially. Look. Difficult today again. So if you're not out of this yet, bear in mind if we break that low, there's nothing there. There's literally nothing below. So if that low breaks, you could wait for a pullback to exit the longs and then take that flush. But at the moment, there is a danger of us doing this because it just seems to be a massive amount of buyers, massive amount of sellers, massive buyers, massive sellers. No direction is there. So I'm just going to sit on that for a bit, I think. But I will watch this low. Because if this low breaks and it pulls back into it and you see signs, so basically price action you want to be looking for is a break of the lows, which is a pre-market low here, which is yesterday's low basically. So this whole area here, break of that low, and then a pullback and some kind of bearish market structure out of that level. So we're looking for a break, retest. Yeah, at that point there, you can exit your longs. And then the shorts, as long as they move down by the size of the hedge, that will take that to break even. I'd wait for a break and confirmation, some kind of, yes, we're going short. No, we're not coming back above this level type price action. Bearish engulfing, some kind of sell-off, shooting star, anything like that. It's got to break that level first. Tricky. Yeah, and good this to keep the old saying in mind. The market can be much longer irrational than you are solvent. Yes. Thanks for that. The market can remain irrational longer than you can remain solvent. Also, if your NAS hits the 2-hour target, would you close one of your short positions? No. I haven't got a 2-hour target on this anymore. Target's not 2-hour anymore. Target's beyond. It's not, there's no, you know, we're buying these lows up again at the minute. Need a confirmation. You need a move to start. We need a big move and then a pullback. Then I would consider taking those off. Again, you know, this is what I keep saying about trading and using automation and using EAs. It's all very well sticking something in the back tester and getting a result. In the real world, when you're watching this price action unfold, you will make decisions which are either good or bad, and they will affect the results that you get. If you see this suddenly go like that for 15 minutes and like that for 10 minutes and then put a shooting star in, I would close those. But my decision making on whether I make that decision is based on these results. So if this had not have banked $800 here, I would be, and I was only in this today, I would probably make that decision. I might still make that decision, I don't know. But the fact of the matter right now is I'm sitting on a profit and I can't lose today. I've got 425 loss, I've banked 850, that's it. I'm a winner. Today's a win. The mortgage is paid today. That's excellent. Car payment is done today. I haven't got to worry about anything today because I've made money. So everybody's going to make a different decision based on what they're in. If you didn't take that and you did take that, at the moment you're $100 deficit. If you did take that and you didn't take that, at the moment you're $100 up. If you took both of those, you're $400 up, or whatever your risk is on whatever account size you're trading. So you could try to take them off at 2R. You could, you know, but you need a valid reason to do it. Don't just take trades off because they hit a risk reward level. The risk reward level is nothing but an extension of the range that was formed. It means nothing unless there is a previous level sitting there. There has to be a previous support or resistance that you can see a price action reaction at. Otherwise, there's no reason for it to turn. In the same way as if this does flush today, there's no reason for it to stop flushing, is there? There's nothing. There's nothing to stop it. When we break below that low, yeah, there's a little bit wick there. Other than that, there is absolutely nothing to stop this from collapsing, because there's no buyers or sellers at any point here. There is sellers there, we know. Yeah, there were sellers there, we know. There's sellers there, we know. We can see them. Price turned. Nothing. So don't take it off at 2R because it's 2R. Take it off when you see a reason to take it off. Otherwise, just stay in it. Otherwise, you run the risk of getting out too soon, and then you're going to go into big drawdown. Having another go at the lows, look. There you go. So that's low of the day gone. So your pre-market low gone. So now we're looking for some kind of pullback and retest of that level. Assuming it breaks. Obviously, if it just bounces from here, it means they're buying this back up again, doesn't it? So yeah, wait for a break. We need a break. Confirmation. If you're in it, that is, obviously. How much would be the ADR indicator? I missed that on the rollover. What? Rajiv, you're saying an awful lot there. I don't know quite what you're talking about. You're saying lots of things which don't seem to relate to each other. I'm actually watching a 30-second chart. Right. Training the 30-second chart like a pro. Too fast for me. They've brought the lows up again. Look, limit orders triggered at the lows. Don't want to let that through at the moment, do they? So watch that propulsion gap. Low, low, low. Finding it hard to get through, aren't they? So anyway, that's my plan on that. So it's either going to break to the upside and it's going to have to go to yesterday's high, or if it breaks to the downside, I need it to flush, retest, and then I'll look at potentially getting out, but still quite risky. So I might just leave it today. I'll see what happens. So I'm not back tomorrow. I'm out tomorrow all day, and I'll be back on Monday. Excuse me. So I won't be around at all tomorrow. I'll be on Telegram in the morning probably, but other than that, back on Monday. So you need to be aware, obviously, tomorrow morning we've got retail sales for the pound. Other than that, there's no other news. Lagarde's talking, but probably not going to say an awful lot. So she might say something, actually, because we've had the CPI for the US, so there may be something comes out of that, but we don't know. So there's no other news tomorrow for the US dollar or any other currency. So today's obviously been a very, very volatile day. 125 New Zealand dollar yen just gone in there. Back off for a minute. So this market is obviously shaken up by this big move off the back of the CPI figures. So it's very, very, very difficult at the moment to determine where anything is going to go. If this is a rollover starting on the US dollar, then we will be looking for indices to rise, obviously. All other currencies to slightly strengthen up, but then start to roll over as well. So some of these currencies that have been very, very weak may start to strengthen. So everything kind of shifts back the other way. So trend shifts, basically. So where you see things have been trending in one direction, we see them start to shift back in the other direction. So need to give it a few days. After a news event like this, you always need to give it time to confirm a new leg or to undo it. So it's always worth waiting to see, what are they going to do? They are making a new leg. Right. Okay, off we go. So we need to wait. So tomorrow, I think probably, because there's no news, we might find we get another bit of an accumulation-y type day, especially as we've just had a big move on the Canadian dollar. So I'll have a look at it all again on Monday and see where we're going. But yeah, a lot of stuff moving very erratic at the moment. Tricky markets, but we'll see where we go. So CAD Swift's my main problem at the moment, which I've just got into an aggressive drawdown control position on. There we go. So that's just triggered. So just got into that aggressive position. So anything below 150 ADR move today is going to stop me out on that. So I'm hoping basically we get a push back up, retest, drop, new leg. So I'm looking for that W pattern reversal to start there. And then I'll add again to it, and that will bring my average down. And then I'll be looking to get out in these propulsion gaps up here, which are still valid. These propulsion moves on the CAD Swiss. So I was looking for a new range high to form, but we flushed. And again, with these flushes, you quite often find this last leg, bang, and then we fly in the opposite direction. So we'll see. We need oil to move, basically. Swiss yen, ADR, another ADR gone in on the Swiss yen. So good strong moves on this yen today. Say pull out the US dollar. Seems to be moving into the yen at the moment. So right. So yeah, I'll be back on Monday. We'll have a look at everything in a bit more detail and see where everything's going. Rajiv, you were talking about the US dollar and the FX rolling over. All right, yeah. So yeah, that is potentially happening. We will see. Enjoying my spa weekend. Yes, I should be pampering myself. Mainly, that's what I'll be doing. In the sauna, 10 minutes. There you go. Done the spa. That's what my spa weekends tend to be like. Not the wild swimming like Greg Secker does, obviously. Far too much of a health freak. I'm taking a weekend off of exercise. That's my idea of a spa weekend. Or going to spa and watching motor racing. That's even better. But anyway, not doing that this weekend. So yeah, I'll be back Monday. Anything you need, come into Telegram. I am around this weekend. It's only tomorrow I'm not here. So I'll be around this weekend. If you need anything, I'll be in Telegram. Other than that, have a good weekend. And hopefully tomorrow goes well with the opening range breaks. And I will see you guys on Monday. Have a good one.